I first smelled Christian Dior's Eau Noire on a magical morning in September 2019. I had smelled a couple of other Christian Dior collection, Private Collection, Prive Collection, Mitza, Ombre Nuit, Bois d'Argent. I don't know if at the time I knew this existed, but I must have, because this has immortelle, and at the time I was very interested in immortelle fragrances. A little bit about Christian Dior Eau Noire. It was released in 2004. The Perfumer is Francis Kurkdjian. On a side note, is it just me, or does anyone else think that Francis Kurkdjian does his best work generally for houses outside of MFK? I think he does. Anyway, I digress, because Eau Noire was a complete, almost not a complete surprise, but it surprised me how much I instantly loved it. So a couple of things here. Normally, at that time, I probably wasn't a huge fan of lavender. What you get in the opening of Eau Noire is a very thick, syrupy lavender, but it is offset at the same time, but by what smells to me like licorice. Not licorice that you can buy as candy, you know, that black sweet licorice. It's an anisic note, and it provides a perfect balance to the lavender. It makes it immediately aromatic, this fragrance. But what happens a few minutes later on my skin is that I suddenly get this beautiful, warm, dark roasted coffee note. So it's not a sweet, you know, like sugared up latte. It's not a bitter, you know, dark coffee note. It's like, the best way I can describe it is a warm roasted coffee that hasn't been brewed just yet. So it's a bit dry. And so far we have the lushness of the lavender, the medicinal licorice, and now this warm roasted coffee note. But it's not over yet. At this stage, I'm thinking, how would I try and categorize this fragrance if I needed to? At this point, the best description to fit it would be an aromatic gourmand almost. What happens next is I pick up, it's still a bit early, but I pick up a note of immortelle, particularly the facet of immortelle that really brings out this burnt, almost bitter caramel-like note. And at no point at all does this get sweet, like it becomes a bit saccharine, and it never goes full gourmand. The lavender and whatever, I don't really smell other. I know there are other herbs listed here, but I mainly smell the lavender. And the other aromatics, sort of, it's all balanced out beautifully. Eventually, when it dries down, it lands on this soft vanilla wood. It's a dry vanilla. It's a really, really soft kind of, you know, nondescript wood note. I can't tell you if it's cedar or sandalwood or whatever. The way it feels on me is it's soft woods. The beauty of this fragrance for me on my skin is that you think you spray it on and it doesn't really change, but what happens is it develops, goes through all those phases without you kind of realizing. Every note, every accord is blended to perfection to meld into the next phase of each fragrance. So by the time you get to the vanilla woods in the base, you don't realize that there's no lavender there. There's no more coffee. There's still the licorice, and a little bit of the immortelle remain for the rest of the duration. But I guess it's what the aim of, you know, a classically composed perfume is about, to not let you notice the transition from top to mid to base. This is, apart from the fact that it smells wonderful to me on my skin, it is a beautiful wear for me. All 12 hours from today. I sprayed this on at 7 o'clock this morning. I could still smell some that I'd sprayed on the back of this hand up until just before I started shooting, and it's after 7:30 p.m. now. The projection is pretty good as well. You can probably overspray this, 3 or 4 sprays. It's soft. If you spray it under your shirt and just let it waft up all day. For the purposes of this review, I'd sprayed on the back of my hand so I could sniff all day and take notes or whatever. And I was just amazed by how long it lasted. But most importantly of all, how wonderful it smelled from top to bottom. This is like wearing a huge purple and green velvet cape and just wrapping yourself in it for the day. What can I say? I don't think I can say any more other than to try and express to you how much I love this fragrance and how good it is smelling on me. That's it. That's my review of Christian Dior's Eau Noire. I should mention, this particular fragrance is still available, and it appears that you can only buy it from the Paris boutique, the Dior Paris boutique at the moment. It's one of those exclusive boutique fragrances. I think Mitza is the same situation. I was actually supposed to be in Paris in a couple of days, but then coronavirus happened and I would have picked up my bottle, but it's still waiting for me when I go, whenever I can go. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that review. I'll see you later.